Nothing is more terrifying than imagining our world inhabited by dinosaurs, just like in the Jurassic Park franchise. But it's also not cool when we miss all the hidden details and Easter eggs in great movies like Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, right? One of these details that almost no one noticed happens during the dinosaur auction in the black market scene. If you look at the large screen in the background where the bids are being recorded, you can see that some insane billionaire had the guts to pay no less than $43 million for a single giant reptile, the deadly Indoraptor. Even though this wasn't explicitly mentioned in the movie, the numbers don't lie. This makes me think that the poor guy who got eaten at the beginning of the movie in the helicopter scene didn't die in vain. At least not for his boss. And this is just the first of the 21 hidden details and Easter eggs in Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom that we're about to show you. If you want your mind blown, come take a look at this video now. Many of us didn't even notice, but at the beginning of the movie, we already had a hint of some things that would happen later. When Claire is at her NGO, on the phone trying to make some contacts, we can see a painting of a giant brachiosaurus being consumed by flames. And that's exactly what happens when the team leaves Isla Nublar at the last moment, but can't take the dinosaur simply because it's too massive. So it's implied that it perishes in the smoke and lava. That painting was probably an early concept for the scene and ended up being left in the office as part of the decor. Without a doubt, one thing we can't complain about in the Jurassic World movies is the incredible attention to detail. Right in the opening scene, we can see a scar on the T-Rex's neck. This is a clear indication that she is the same female who terrorized everyone in the 1993 movie, and the scars are from her battle with the pack of velociraptors. In fact, we can see the scars even more clearly when she is sedated, and Owen and Claire are trapped with her in the cage. But this isn't the only reference to past events and characters from the first film, directed by Steven Spielberg. When we first see Mr. Lockwood's house and meet the eccentric millionaire himself, take a look at the red scarf around his neck. This is either a nod to Dr. Alan Grant, one of the original protagonists, or Lockwood is just a huge fan of the paleontologist. Additionally, we see the wealthy man carrying a cane with an amber stone at the top, with a mosquito fossilized inside, an exact replica of the cane owned by the man who started it all, Dr. John Hammond. But what's interesting is that even though Mr. Lockwood is a big fan of both Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. John Hammond, he also takes great pride in his own name. We can see this when he puts the beginning of his last name on the license plate of the car he provides for Claire to travel to his mansion. Nothing unusual, just a rich guy thing. I'd totally do the same if I could. It's a subtle detail, but if you look closely at the metal accents on the wooden door of Claire's host's mansion, you'll notice that the circular design is actually made up of 4 lizards, hinting at Mr. Lockwood's deep passion for studying reptiles. We can also see that the exterior of the residence is filled with lion statues, and there are lions embedded in the metal work on the wooden door as well. This was actually a foreshadowing of one of the final scenes in the movie, where the franchise's iconic T-Rex comes face to face with an old zoo lion, the former king of the jungle. The two engage in a sort of roaring showdown. Now, if you also love great movies, cartoons, and shows featuring giant reptiles, drop a dino in the comments so we know you're with us. Back to analyzing the movie. Besides reptiles and lions, it seems that Mr. Lockwood also has a keen interest in butterflies and moths. We can spot them in the wallpaper of the mansion's reception area and staircase, as well as on the padded sections of the chairs where his fossil collection is displayed. And what does this have to do with dinosaurs? Well, there's a famous science fiction book called A Sound of Thunder, which tells the story of a company that offers time-traveling tours to the age of the dinosaurs, allowing people to hunt reptiles that were already about to die, thus supposedly preventing any disruption to the timeline. However, during one of these trips, a client accidentally steps on a butterfly. When the group returns to the present, they realize that reality has been completely altered. This is where the term butterfly effect comes from. And interestingly enough, both A Sound of Thunder and Jurassic Park, the book that inspired the entire franchise, revolve around dinosaurs. Pretty fascinating, right? Oh, and just as a side note, there's actually a movie adaptation of A Sound of Thunder, but let's just say the quality is highly questionable. Inside the millionaire's mansion, we see that the decor includes portraits of several significant figures, one of them being none other than John Hammond. But aside from him, if we take a closer look at the base of the staircase, we'll find a portrait, not of a scientist, but of a science fiction writer. It's a painting of Mary Shelley, the brilliant author behind the world-famous novel Frankenstein. But why would she be there? Simple. In her novel, the genius Mary Shelley told the story of a scientist who brought a dead creature back to life, which is pretty much exactly what John Hammond did with the dinosaurs, reviving creatures that had been extinct for millions of years. Such an amazing reference. I bet you didn't even notice that one before. Moving a bit further into the movie, let's talk about the airplane scene. And if you didn't catch this detail, just like us the first time we watched the movie, the pilot flying Claire, Owen, and the rest of the team to Isla Nublar is none other than the same flight instructor from the helicopter scene, who was sitting next to Mr. Simon, the owner of Jurassic World. That's actually great news. It means he survived all the chaos from the 2015 movie. Now, being serious for a second, after everything you've seen so far, we totally deserve your subscription. So go ahead and click down below and join our team of movie fans. Back at Mr. Lockwood's mansion, while the housekeeper searches for the wealthy man's granddaughter, we see Dilophosaurus figurines from 2 different angles. And that's no coincidence. This is a clear reference to the same species that appeared in the 1993 movie and ended up spitting venom in the face of Dennis, Dr. Hammond's son. Moving forward in the movie's timeline, the volcano finally erupts, leading to that intense scene where the characters take shelter inside a log as dinosaurs stampede past them. Obviously, both the dinosaur stampede and the idea of using a log for protection are references to a very similar scene from the 1993 movie. A fantastic little nod to longtime franchise fans like us. But there are plenty more callbacks to the original movie in this 2018 film. When the group first arrives on the island, the very first dinosaur they encounter is a Brachiosaurus, exactly like Dr. Alan Grant's team, who are completely awestruck when they first lay eyes on the gigantic dinosaur. And just as they barely manage to escape the island, we see that, unfortunately, this very same Brachiosaurus might not have made it out in time. Take a close look. It even stands up on its hind legs in a desperate attempt to survive, as if realizing that its time is running out. Now, if we go back to the 1993 movie, that's the exact same movement the Brachiosaurus makes when reaching for food. What an incredible reference, folks. What a reference. But hold on, there are even more Easter eggs from the original film. Remember when Lockwood's granddaughter, who in reality is actually his daughter, barely escapes the Indoraptor by closing the laundry chute hatch just in time? Tell us, doesn't that scene instantly remind you of when Lex tricks the Velociraptor in the first movie? Exactly, that's precisely why this scene made it into the 2018 film. Right at the beginning of the movie, we see a group of mercenaries on the completely destroyed Isla Nublar with the mission of obtaining a DNA sample from the Indominus Rex, the same one that was dragged to the bottom of the ocean in the 2015 film. And the guy in charge of closing the gates, who ultimately fails to do so, is wearing a yellow raincoat. This is one of the franchise's signature visual cues, immediately reminding us of Dennis, Dr. Hammond's son, who wore a similar raincoat when he was killed by dinosaurs in the 1993 film. We also see this raincoat again in the 2015 movie when the boys discover the old operations base of the park. But the Jurassic Park franchise isn't just about old school references. When a news channel reports on the debate between the government and civil society over whether or not to let dinosaurs go extinct again, we can read on the screen that the American president is questioning the existence of dinosaurs. This is a clear nod to the tense relationship between the then president of the United States, who is still the current one, and some of the biggest media companies in America. When Claire and Owen meet Maisie Lockwood in the basement of the mansion where the dinosaurs are being held captive, there's an interesting close-up of her feet, showing off her pair of all-star sneakers. This is similar to what happened in the previous movie when we saw the same brand and model of sneakers being worn by Claire's older nephew. The shoe company must have paid a small fortune for this, considering they got product placement in 2 Jurassic Park movies. Either that or someone in the production team is a big fan of the brand. We may not know that for sure, but what we do know is that you have high standards and love quality content. That's why we've handpicked 2 more amazing videos for you to watch and enjoy. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.